is right. We can talk about anything you like. Just listen. Take a walk right over to my kitchen. What you wanna do? Come mix it up with us still. So tell me what you wanna do. Come mix it up with us still. Yeah, come mix it up with us still.
This is how I like my Friday, just like this. Starting with a little dance,
Yes.
you know, a little shimmy, a little something. Welcome to the stew, guys. My name is Anika.
I'm Les.
And I'm Janae.
And thank you for tuning in. First and foremost, of course, it is still October, which means it is still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And if you are an Island Luck customer, you are in luck. You can go over to the 4th Terrace Diagnostic Center and get yourself a free mammogram. So ladies, please go over, take advantage of this. If you are 35 years and older, it is absolutely crucial and important to not just get tested, but to also receive the necessary information you need to about breast cancer awareness and its prevention. Today, we are diving into hurricane taxes. We are getting a seat at the table, and we are giving you some tips on how to bail on a date.
Yes.
Oh, you're ready to dive right in?
All of that and a whole lot more. But let's talk about Power. No, not the TV show. That season has ended. I'm talking about the real struggle that's happening here in our very own 242. Power, the current, the lights. Oh, goodness. 12,000 accounts still without
Power.
And yet we've had numbers like 80% of New Providence restored. At least, you know, that number had been released by BPL. But oh my goodness, I honestly feel for anyone who at this stage still does not have electricity, because it is no longer a luxury in our life. It is an absolute necessity. How are people ironing for work?
Exactly.
And putting on their makeup and getting their face beat.
Well, you can imagine they're like literally sleeping from house to house to house. Like, can I take a bath at your house today?
Exactly.
Can I just cook like a little something and take it home? You know, it's the struggle. You're really in like a third world
And
struggle.
if anyone has noticed, you know, time is getting ready to change. So it's getting darker earlier as well.
Wow.
You know, you're waking up in darkness. Like, it's a serious struggle.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel for you, and I hope the light comes back on soon. I am very grateful for the fact that although I've experienced some damages due to Hurricane Matthew, that my light is actually on. So the roof is jacked up,
Yeah,
but
so am I.
the light works.
Yes.
Exactly.
So thank God for that.
Speaking of Hurricane
exactly.
Matthew,
Since the
ladies,
hurricane,
Where's my emojis?
we
man?
had a scare this week.
we did.
Where
Well, the hurricane tax situation
Hurricane
came
tax,
up.
yeah,
Well,
Mom.
it was,
That is what-
it
this
was
is
brought
exactly how
up,
I felt.
at some point this week.
I heard about
but the PM did backpedal a bit and say that, you know, perhaps that's not the way to go. Our current taxation
Perhaps?
structure.
No.
Perhaps.
No, especially not when you've told people, you know, weeks ago, not he personally, but it had been revealed in the news that, you know, so much amount of dollars had gone over budget for Carnival. And then you reveal that so much amount of money has been disappeared from, oh goodness, the Ministry of, what is it, Transport? Yes. Like, you can't have these things be revealed and then you come with, oh, you know what? Hurricane Matthew was bad, but we could tax y'all some more.
How do we have it? We have hurricane.
Choke or
Well, we
not.
have the possibility of having a hurricane every season, every year. Why is
exactly.
there a tax? Like, should we just not have like contingency plans?
Exactly.
Or we already have so much taxation happening already. Like, where's all this fat money going? Like, where's all the money going? Why is there, or
You know what?
allegedly?
I think that was really just, you know, the media following Prime Minister Perry Christie around and asking about different things, and him probably just shooting off at the mouth and not really
So instead, what
giving
they've done,
accurate
according
information.
to news reports today, is they're going to borrow $150 million to aid in
and there won't be
Hurricane
any
Matthew
tax,
relief.
any hurricane tax.
And there will
But
not be any hurricane tax. But again, you know, it goes back to which one is better. Are we being equipped with the information to know, well, you know, based on what you're proposing, what are the pros and cons of each, you know? So if we can actually make a intelligible decision.
Yes.
And again, I mean, that's where that whole Freedom of Information Act comes in, which we will hear more about.
Yes.
Exactly.
So later on in the show, I'm very excited to hear more about that and why we need it for
But
this
Anika,
reason. Yeah.
so I was just thinking about it the other day. Tell me something. If you had to bail on a date, right? Like, let's say, 'cause I hear it all the time, right? You know, work chit chatter, they'll be like, man, you know, he said he only had $25 in his wallet, so I was like, That you can imagine you're in the date and you have to bail. What would you do?
Oh boy, I'm always gonna blame it on work.
Work.
Yeah, and I would say something like, oh crap, you know, you gotta act like you got a buzz on your phone or something. Oh crap, I remembered my thing, and my boss, I mean, he just really needs this right now.
But listen.
And I have to go. I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to you next time.
You didn't even got to go through that right up and now. Hurricane Matthew done passed, but my light off.
She's still getting dates post hurricane.
You know what I'm saying?
That won't be like
my light
Leslie.
off. I don't have no
I
water.
know
I
what
can't
light
iron. I can't see.
So you
I
ain't
talk
going on a
about
date at all? That's what it
face
sound
beat, You know
like.
what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah.
But I
Are
mean,
we on the date
yeah,
or
but
this is
Leslie, what if
before?
you're on a horrible date? Like you're just in the middle. You about to pay the bill. But
You know what? I'll be honest. I am straight up. I'll be like, okay, well, I'm tired. I'm ready to go now. I'll see you later.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
I mean,
straight
fair
up
enough.
is good.
Transparency is key.
I
Isn't
believe
it?
in
And I'm a
freedom
liar.
of information.
I'm clearly a liar.
Keep it real.
Well, here's what I would do. I would grab my favorite bottle of wine 1st. I'd order it for the table, and I'd be like, oh, you know what?
Something came up.
Something came up, and my bottle of wine has to go with me. Okay. Sorry, I wouldn't do that. But because it's Friday, that's all I'm thinking about. So I want to shed some light on something you can drink for happy hour tonight.
I was about to say, you were already on happy hour. That's where you're going with this.
Happy hour. It's Friday.
Can we do a
Yeah,
happy hour
why
dance?
not?
What's your happy hour?
So what do you guys like to do for happy hour?
Drink. Well, no, sorry.
Well, isn't that what
Yes,
people
drink,
do?
yeah.
That's the whole point
You
of
know
happy
what?
hour, isn't
I'll
it?
tell you what I like. I do like a nice glass of wine, of course, but I
Yep.
do like to pair that with. Like to go to tapas restaurants.
Oh, cool.
Get little
Love
small
tapas.
dishes
Yes.
and pair that with a nice glass of white wine. Pinot Grigio is my favorite.
Yep.
It's very light. I mean, a lot of people say it doesn't have any taste. So if someone's looking for something more flavorful, they'll go for the Sauvignons or the. Or even the reds, right?
Yeah.
But what I like is a really crisp wine taste,
Okay.
crisp wine taste, and maybe a nice slider combo, whether
Right,
it's
right.
chicken or
Something to just sit on the
You know,
belly while you're
exactly.
drinking.
Does it make me an alcoholic that I don't like to eat when I'm drinking, while I'm drinking?
Ooh.
as long as you ate earlier in the day.
At
I-
least have something in there to sop it
Yeah.
up. A little something.
Yeah, I like my
Somehow,
belly.
I think you might get drunker quicker.
I mean, is
what
that
they
not
say.
the purpose? Is that not the purpose of
That
happy
sounds
hour?
like a social
It's to appreciate-
experiment, guys.
It's appreciate what's on your palate.
Oh.
This sounds like a social experiment in the works.
Yes. So stew on the go.
Yes.
We'll see who can
Go
consume.
to happy hour. One of us will not drink from 12 o'clock that day or eat from 12 o'clock that
know.
day.
And one of us will have
One
to
of us
eat
will
the
have
whole
sliders.
day.
Yeah, and let's
Exactly.
see. I'll hold
Trust
up.
me.
I'll hold up right. All right. I'll do a happy hour dance, but I'll hold up right, honey.
So, ladies, I want to talk now about a very lovely lady who I honestly don't think she gets enough credit because she's a little sister and she kind of, is in the shadow of her big sister who some say is more famous, more talented, more whatever.
Some say,
It's
okay.
up to you. But anyway, I'm talking about Solange. She recently released her latest album, her third studio album. September 30th to be exact, and some of the songs there had actually been written and produced back in 2008, but she's now just putting out now. She's got 2 visuals to go with it, and I'm proud of her, I really gotta say. But of course the debate has come up yet once again. Oh, is she only getting all this attention because she's Beyonce's baby sister? And I'm thinking, but y'all said that about the first album, and then y'all said that about the second album. Just give her
Leslie,
credit.
It's such a different It's so her music is so
soulful.
different from her sisters.
It is.
It like you said, it's soulful. It's I mean, it takes you to a different place than what Beyonce's album would do,
Yep.
right?
Truly.
If I want, at this point, if I want lemonade, I want lemonade. But
Right.
if I want soul and if I want to, relax with that glass of wine, I'm gonna listen to Solange. It has nothing to do with comparing the two sisters.
Exactly.
It's how you feel.
And so
in
he's
that
doing a
moment.
lot of
Exactly.
And if you can
incredible and
appreciate her music,
amazing
you appreciate it,
initiative.
right?
I mean, I think what some people forgot too is Solange has been making great music for a while now, but she's kind of been, I think, underrated.
Exactly.
And it just so happens that this album, A Seat at the Table, is a complete masterpiece. I mean, to the core,
Yeah.
it is what you would describe as easy listening.
Yes.
And the entire time I'm listening, I'm just imagining myself with the curtains open. It's like a Sunday afternoon. I'm drinking some wine.
Yeah.
I'm probably cleaning up or reading a book or something nice. And it's a
Exactly.
great piece of work.
What
It's
do
a
y'all
great body
think
of
If
work.
you're
about-
listening to Beyonce, you've got the broom in your hand and you're about to
Yeah.
smack it into a window. There's two
Exactly.
different vibes.
And you're
there.
popping it.
All your Sasha Fairs is coming out. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's a great piece of work.
What
for
do y'all
sure.
think about the Don't Touch My Hair? Just the title alone, I'm like, way to go, sister. Because y'all know when it comes to black
Well-
girl, don't do it. Look, but don't touch.
Exactly.
I think I am
I mean, it's
excluded from this
powerful.
conversation.
But you know what? That's a perfect kind of segue into what's happening around the world. I mean, we've been going through the whole Black Lives Matter movement and talking about that. But just recently, there was a black doctor who was on a Delta Airlines flight.
Yeah.
And there was a man nearly dying. The woman was screaming out, "My husband is pretty much dying." And the black doctor went to help, and the flight attendant stopped her and said, sorry, you're not qualified. We're looking for actual doctors
Wow.
and physicians." But she this is Dr. Cross. She posted it on, yes, please, for the
That
flight
is just-
attendant herself.
Absolutely. What?
Yeah,
Really?
it's shocking that it's happening in 2016.
Yeah.
One. But of course, as with everything, it went viral.
Of
She
course.
posted it, and I mean, there have
And she had
been
every
even
right
our
to.
own doctors in our country, because I'm sure, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? So her hashtag on social media was hashtag what does a doctor look like? And we've had many doctors locally participating and saying, hey, this is what I look like. What if
Yeah.
I need to help somebody? Are you going to do that to me? It's so scary and disheartening,
It is.
isn't it?
It's what you call to the core ignorance.
It is.
I'm swear at the height.
Yeah, it's ignorance at the
of
height,
ignorance.
and things like that annoy me so much. It's aggravating, you know. And I can only imagine even what she must have felt like. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell do you? Whatever.
Exactly.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I
Especially when it comes to saving a life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what you went to, that's what you study, that's what you went to school for. So you can imagine someone blocking you from your work because they're looking at your
so
They're
skin
just
color.
profiling you. Yeah.
it must,
That's,
insane.
it must suck to be black in America.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
crazy.
But anyhow,
So
we
that-
gotta.
So, great conversation, girls. After the break, we're going to be talking with org and Citizens for the Bahamas on some information you need to know and you need to be aware of. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Stew. Today we're talking freedom of information in our country and what you need to know. We've got Citizens for a Better Bahamas, an organization for responsible governance, in studio. Let's welcome Lamar Campbell and Nicole Uriash.
Morning.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
All right, great. Thank you guys for joining us. This is really a topic that's near and dear to us. We kind of bring it up in a lot of our segments, but we don't go into the nitty-gritty of it. So tell us right now, what is freedom of information and why do we need to know about it? How does it affect our everyday lives?
Well, freedom of information is one of the big tenets of democracy. It is the right for citizens to know what their government is doing. Government operates on behalf of citizens. It collects information for us, by us, and we have a right to know what it is they're doing with our public money, how they're spending, and how to hold them accountable for the actions that they're taking on our behalf.
Yeah, and I have to add that freedom of information is actually a human right. It's a fundamental human right, just like the right, freedom of movement, freedom to own property, freedom to assemble. So it's a fundamental human right. And with freedom of information, it will enable us to access information from the government. Currently, there are over 100 countries that have a Freedom of Information Act. Okay. In the Bahamas not being one of them. We are lagging way behind. Our neighbors in the Caribbean, we have Trinidad, Jamaica, Cayman Islands. And so a lot of countries are on board except for the Bahamas so far.
Lamarck, you and Nicole, you represent Citizens for a Better Bahamas, and you are from Organization for Responsible Governance. How have the two of your organizations come together to bring forth, agitation for freedom of information, and what's the status of it presently?
Well, our organizations have come together with actually a number of organizations. We have 17 organizations that are on board. That includes civil society organizations as well as the business community, the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. And we've been advocating for freedom of information for the government to actually enact the law. Since 2012, it was passed, but it was never formally enacted by the previous government. But now the new administration, they have said that there needs to be a lot of changes made to it. And so since 2012, it's just been up in the air. And so we've been advocating for them to actually move forward and table it.
Definitely.
In Parliament.
We've actually made a list of 35 recommendations to the 2015 bill that was proposed to say different ways that we can make it stronger and more fair and more true. And some of those things have to do with defining terms within the bill. In the current legislation, there's a lot of vagueness, a lot of opportunity for interpretation. And some of the things that we have suggested have been to make terms defined so that you know why things are excluded from a freedom of information request. Things like, what is national security? Define that term. What does that mean? So that we can better understand how we can use this bill to gain the information that we need in order to make decisions about our own families, our local government, and who we want to be representing us in the House of Parliament.
This definitely affects Bahamians. How can they become involved in something like this?
Well, go ahead.
Yeah,
Mark.
I mean, right now, I think Bahamians need to come on board and, ask their representatives to actually push this through Parliament and make this a law. And once it's actually a law and implemented, Bahamians need to ask the questions. I mean, we always ask questions, and so right now it's just a perception because we don't have the concrete answers to the questions that we ask.
What are some of the benefits of having this?
Well,
information?
some of the benefits to having a Freedom of Information Act is being able to access the decision-making process. For example, if you wanted to know who provided the barricades for Bahamas Junk Canoe Carnival, you could make that as a Freedom of Information request. If you're a business owner and you want to know what it takes to have a stall at the Goombay Junk Canoe Festival and you want to know how much it would cost per square foot, these types of things you can ask. More importantly though, you can find out if there are health concerns in your area. For example, the recent issues with Marathon and Rubis. If you wanted to know what the government knows about that, you can make that request for that information. If you want to know what's happening with the Bahamar deal, you can make the request to ask for that information.
I'm curious though, in making these requests, is this something that will be readily available to everyone? And when I say that, is this a matter of being able to look it up online, or is this going to be a process where we'll have to go to an office and register and wait, and it'll have to be passed from table to table?
Well, and see, this is part of what we've been advocating for. In the current form of the legislation, the 2015 draft, they have the application process as one where you submit a request, not a formal application, but a written request saying, I want the information on X, Y, and Z. And then you submit it to the office from whom you're getting that information. So, for example, the Ministry of Education, you'd write to the minister and say, Minister Fitzgerald, I'd like information about the 2012 BGCSE results. Now, once the person in his office receives that, they have to respond to you within 30 days. Just respond. They don't necessarily have to give you the information, but they have to acknowledge that they received that.
Right.
Which means, exactly as you're saying, in the current legislation, they can bump you from office
it
to
sounds
office.
like a lot of red
and
tape
cut you off.
and
It
a lot
is.
of runaround.
It is, but we are very encouraged because the minister, Fitzgerald again, because he's in charge of FOIA, he announced recently that they will be tabling a newer draft of the bill.
Right.
He mentioned that it would be tabled in October. Now, with Hurricane Matthew, I'm not sure that it will make it to Parliament in October, but we do have a petition that we're encouraging everyone to sign to really push the government not to forget about FOIA. And you can find that on the Campaign 242 website, which is www.campaign242.org.
I have to ask, I'm a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to matters of governance, particularly in this country. Do you believe that this is something that we will be successful, in achieving, this Freedom of Information Act? And if we can be, if our government can be transparent in this whole process?
Yeah, I do believe eventually it will come through because, as I mentioned before, we have 100 countries that already have it, and so we're lagging behind. So it just is a matter of how much the citizens demand for it and push it. And right now there's a lack of trust, like you said, in government. So with that, it brings accountability, transparency, but also I think most important is citizen participation in government. So it allows us to actually partake in the decision-making process.
Absolutely. And not only that, in order to access some of the funding opportunities that exist within the World Bank and the IMF, you need to have a Freedom of Information Act in place. So there's an obligation on the government to catch up in that sense, but also for the people to say, we don't just want to have a bill that just lives in the books. We want to make sure that it's a bill that is meaningful and something that we can really use. And so that's what we're here for, not just to push a bill through so that we can borrow money, but to make sure that it's a bill that is one that we can all use and benefit from.
Well, we'd like to thank you both for coming on the show. This has been an enlightening segment for us. I hope that everybody, really takes heed to what you're trying to promote and what we need, why we need freedom of information in our country. So once again, I'd like you to tell everyone how we can find more information on the organization and on the act itself.
Definitely. So Citizens for a Better Bahamas has a Facebook page, but if you want to sign the Freedom of Information petition, it lives on www.campaign242.org. So.
And, also ask your members of parliament to push this in parliament
Great. Yes.
and enact the law.
Yeah.
So it's important if everyone gets involved. We want to thank you again for coming on the show. And after the break, you'll see us again. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
We're back with the stew, and for your entertainment, I've got a quick rundown on where you need to be and what you need to know for events and entertainment this weekend. But first, let's talk about who you need to know. How about that singing sensation, 16-year-old Bahamian singer Chloe Campbell, who made her debut on Billboard's website just this week with her single, Sick. And let me tell you, with a voice like that, honey, you are definitely going places. Check out more on Chloe on Billboard.com. Next up, let's talk about what's happening in our neck of the woods. The Shakespeare in Paradise Theater Festival unfortunately had a bit of a derailment because of Hurricane Matthew. However, it has resumed showings of You Can Lead a Horse to Water, the critically acclaimed stage play written by the late Winston Saunders. It is now showing at the Dundas Center for the Performing Arts in the newly named Winston Saunders Theater. You want to check that out. It will be at 8 p.m. this evening, as well as a 5 p.m. showing tomorrow night and an 8 p.m. showing tomorrow night. For more information, you can check them out on Facebook, Shakespeare in Paradise, or the Dundas Center for the Performing Arts. And finally, are you looking for something to do with the entire family? I thought so. That's why we love the International Culture Wine and Food Festival, because you can take the entire family. It will be held at the Botanical Gardens in Chippingham, and it's the 21st annual, if you could believe it. Of course, we call it Food Fest, so however you want to call it, just pack up everybody and take them on down there. It's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. this Saturday and Sunday. You don't want to miss it. It promises to be yet another round of great food, great fun, music, culture, dance, and a whole lot more. Just $5 admission and $3 for children. So don't miss out on another opportunity to have some fun with your entire family. And you know what else you don't want to miss out on? More of the stew, and we've got that after this commercial break.
It is a happy Friday indeed. Thank you so much for watching this, you guys, and thank you for joining us at a seat at the table for our favorite happy hour drinks. Ladies, once again, remember, if you are an Island Luck customer, to take advantage of a free mammogram at the 4th Terrace Diagnostic Center from now until November 30th. Thank you so much to the representatives from ORG for giving us information on the Freedom of Information Act. We'll see you guys on Monday, same time, same place, 1 and 8 p.m. We'll see you next time.
When the vibe is right, we can talk about